Well, well, well. Looks like we're not actually getting third kits after all. But that's certainly not going to stop me from making my own. Hello everybody, my name is Echo, and welcome to the first part of a two-part episode where we'll be giving every shooter in Splatoon 3 third kits. On today's episode, we will be tackling the semi-automatic and long-range shooters, because I really don't like doing things in order. Now, without further ado, let me get into some of the rules about this series, and also let's get a change in music. Now, these will not be my dream kits. Rather, these are realistic depictions of what we could potentially see within a future update, assuming we even get any. How I'll be doing this is I'll be looking at previous kits within the series, looking at how that kit was played, and then looking at how the main weapon's playstyle is. And then I'll combine all of this knowledge to make a third kit for these weapons. In some cases, this method won't really work out. When it came to making a third kit for Tetra Dualies, I couldn't exactly choose a previous sub that it had and had to go with a new one because it's only ever had 2 subs for some reason. Shooters, specifically long-range shooters, were actually suggested on my previous video, so if you want to suggest what weapon class I should take a look at next, let me know. Also, technically, I should be doing Splatooners and Stringers, as that was also suggested, and it was technically suggested more, but I knew fine well we'd be getting new main weapons for Splatoon and Stringer next season, so I wanted to include them within the video. And with all that being said, how about we jump right into this? Up first on the list will be the Splattershot Nova, as it's probably going to have my most controversial kit of this episode. Main reason for this is I don't really know what to give Splattershot Nova. When it comes to spamming specials, there's not many specials that you can really spam effectively. The best one I could consider was Crab Tank, but considering it's already on 3 shooters, giving it to a 4th one instead of any other weapon class doesn't really gel well with me, so instead we're going to give this thing Tenna Missiles. Now I know what you're thinking, why? The main reason is Tenna Missiles aren't that good anymore. In fact, I'd say Tenna Missiles are worse than Killer Whale, which it already has. Tenna Missiles are on a 10-second cooldown, and their explosion radius is basically non-existent anymore. The worst this weapon would really do is make eliters have a terrible day, which, in all fairness, is absolutely deserved. No offense. On top of this, I'll also be giving it Toxic Mist, because I do not want to give it a sub that can paint, and Wall does not work for this weapon, period. Overall, I do not think this kit would make Nova good. Nova just has way too many problems. If any Nova kit should be good, it should be the Anarchy Nova, considering the fact that Inkjet is a very valuable special right now. But more specifically when it comes to this kit, its main competition is Reflux, and not only can that fight better than Nova, it can also paint better. I do see this having some use maybe in Turf War, but outside of that, yeah, no, I'm sorry Nova players. If you even exist, that is. Now, from one weapon with a global special to another, let's talk about the L3. L3 is an interesting case, as it already has its best sub-weapon, but it's held back by the fact that it doesn't have a good special. But I'd like to make a kit that doesn't fall into that problem, which is why I'm going to give it Fizzy Bomb and Killer Whale. Now, Fizzy Bomb is just an all-round amazing special. It basically works on any weapon that you give it to, and is probably considered the best sub-weapon in the game right now. It also helps very well for L3, as it allows it to get a one-shot combo the same way that Burst Bomb does. Combine that with Killer Whale, which also will help L3 with combos. Even just the slightest tag by Killer Whale will basically make you a one-shot burst. And you have a pretty well-rounded kit. Now, the only real concern I have is you can throw a Fizzy Bomb, pop the Killer Whale, and then throw another Fizzy Bomb, which is kind of the problem that we had with Sloshing Machine at the start of S3, but, I mean, if this weapon is good, I'm not complaining. This weapon's probably one of the funnest weapons to actually play in Splatoon 3, and giving it a fun kit like this is something that it just seems like it would have, you know? Not to mention, Killer Whale is typically on a lot of weapons that can combo well with it, and a lot of weapons that can paint well, and this weapon, L3, can do both. Overall, I think this kit would be absolutely amazing. There's not much more to say about it. It'd just be a really good kit. Now this is probably the part where I say, oh yeah, let's talk about H3 Nozzlenose, but I'm not going to do that. Instead, we're actually going to talk about Splattershot Pro. Now, making a kit for Splattershot Pro was probably the easiest one to do, because in both of the previous games, it's had a Splat Bomb. So, we're going to be giving it a Splat Bomb again. But on top of that, we're also going to give it a previous special that worked really well for the weapon in the past, that being Storm. Quite recently, Splattershot Pro actually got a buff to the damage of the weapon, making it do 90 damage in 2 shots. And then if you combine that with Rain, then you're basically killing people in 2 shots. It's a very similar reason to why I gave Killer Whale to L3 and why I gave Killer Whale to V-Dualies. The combo potential is so unbelievably good that at the same time, I'm kind of scared that this would be a bit too overpowered, but considering it's Splattershot Pro, a unbelievably mediocre weapon with a very good kit already, I don't actually think this would be overpowered at all. Now, when it comes to Pro, it has Suction Bomb and Booyah Bomb on a different kit, which is a very, very good kit and is only not being used because, well, unfortunately it can't really paint for its special. Being 200p, it doesn't get a lot of Booyah Bombs, and Suction isn't exactly the bomb that you give to be painting, you know? Which is exactly why I want to draw attention to the points for special in this kit, being 190. Pro actually has pretty decent paint, but it is nowhere near the best. So having it have lower points for special makes a lot more sense, and I really don't understand why Nintendo hasn't done this yet. Granted, in all fairness, it did used to be 210, thank god that was changed, but still, it needs to be 190, Nintendo. Overall, I think this kit would be great. Since it's already had Splat Bomb on previous kits, as well as Ink Storm on a different kit, combining both of them just makes a lot of sense, considering they work really well for the weapon. Okay, I think now is about time that we talk about H3. I kinda just wanted to keep a regular shooter, semi-automatic, regular shooter, semi-automatic thing, so now is about time. Now, my H3 kit is gonna be very experimental, because the thing with H3 is it has 0 jump RNG when in the air. That's how that works, mate. Right, as I was saying, H3 has 0 jump RNG, which I think you can understand where I'm going with this. I want to give this thing Zipcaster, because I don't know if this would be a good Zipcaster weapon, but it would be a really, really fun one. The exact same way that Squiffer is a really fun Zipcaster weapon, and Stamper is a really fun Zipcaster weapon. It has the ability to one-shot if you're good enough. Will you really be hitting this very often? Absolutely not, because, it's a 3-shot burst, but you know. On top of this, we'll also give it a sub-weapon that it's had in both the previous games, that being Suction Bomb. Suction Bomb is just an all-around good special? Suction Bomb is an all-around good sub, sorry. I've used many weapons that have had a Suction Bomb, all of them have been good. I mean, my main weapon, V-Dualies, literally has a Suction Bomb, and have I complained about it? Yes. But that's because it should have got Burst Bomb in the first place, but whatever, what do I know? Overall, I think this kit would be really good for the weapon, and I also think it would actually be pretty realistic in a sense. We could probably end up seeing this if we ever got 3rd kits, just due to the fact that it has perfect jump accuracy. I think that's all Nintendo needs to give it to this weapon. Next up on the list of regular shooters, let's talk about Jet Squelcher. Over the course of the series, Jet Squelcher has had a variety of different kits. Most of them have been supportive, but one of its many kits have been very aggressive, that being the Burst Bomb Kraken from Splatoon 1. But I don't want to give this one back to Jet Squelcher, as that kinda just seems like an easy way out, both for the weapon and for the kit. So instead, we're going to give the first backline weapon, Bubbler. Now, on most backline weapons, Bubbler makes absolutely no sense, because Bubbler depends on where you're placing it. The only other weapon I consider Bubbler working on is Hydra, but that's because of its terrible charge time. But when it comes to Jet Squelcher is one of the few backline weapons that can play pretty aggressively, meaning it can set up Bubbler in basically anywhere that it wants, made even easier by the fact that you will have a Burst Bomb. Burst Bomb has been known to work on this weapon before. We've seen it obviously in Splatoon 1, and we've seen it in Splatoon 2, which is why I kinda find it weird that we didn't actually get it in Splatoon 3. Burst Bomb has never been overpowered on this weapon. It merely just shaves off 1 to 2 shots, which for a weapon like this is very helpful. The only thing I can see this kit causing a problem with would be the vanilla Jet Squelcher, as Line Marker is kinda just outclassed by Burst Bomb, but the thing is with that kit is it has Ink Vac, which is a much better special than Bubbler. But when it comes to vanilla Jet Squelcher, it is the king of getting Ink Vacs. Overall, I think this kit would work absolutely amazingly on Jet Squelcher. I don't think it would at all outclass either of the other 2 kits on the weapon, and I would love to see how this weapon would play within the game. I would also personally love to see that the 3rd kit variant for Jet Squelcher be looking like the dual Squelchers, because that just makes a lot of sense. If we can't have dual Squelchers back because we got dually Squelchers, we'll just do the next best thing, you know? Up next, you know it, you probably hate it, it's Squeezer. Now, when it comes to making third kits for Squeezer, you have to be really careful. Because of how stacked Squeezer is as a main weapon, you don't want to give it a really good kit. We've seen over the course of the series, Nintendo try to actively nerf Squeezer's kits by giving it a wall. Which I mean is okay if you're trying to fight things longer range than you, and does make sense considering how much range you have, but at the same time, there are so many better options, you know? Not to mention, we've seen Squeezer get an unbelievably good kit in Splatoon 2, and we have a really good kit in Splatoon 3. But mainly, I want to go back to that Splatoon 2 one and try to recreate it in a way that isn't busted. You probably know which kit I'm on about, and that is the foil Squeezer from Splatoon 2 with Splat Bomb and Bubble Blower. Now, obviously we can't remake this kit, because Bubble Blower isn't in the game, but there is a very similar special to it in the form of Super Chumps. Super Chumps actually functions very similarly to how Bubble Blower was intended to work, that being a special that basically gives you mini shields, you know? And those same mini shields also being able to explode. Unlike Bubble Blower, however, you aren't able to just nuke a location the same way that you could in Splatoon 2. Now, the real scary part about this kit is actually the sub-weapon, that sub-weapon being Splat Bomb. Which, yes, is also the first time I'm ever reusing a sub-weapon within the series in the same video. It was never a rule in the first place. Anyway, when it comes to Splat Bomb is very scary, because Splat Bomb is one of the best sub-weapons in the game. If you give it to any weapon, it will do well, no matter the weapon. Genuinely zero weapon could complain about it, except for maybe Dynamo Roller, but that's just from my experience. Now, the real scary part about it is the combo. The combo with it making you a two-shot is kinda scary, to say the least. And potentially might actually make this kit overpowered, but it's hard to really say. Obviously it was a good kit in Splatoon 2, but that is because you could just nuke a location, like I said prior. So now that it doesn't have Bubble Lore, it might genuinely be balanced. But we will really only know if we ever see it in a game. Now, last but certainly not least, my personal favorite long-range shooter, 96 Gal. 96 Gal is a very interesting case. Much like Tetra Dualies of my previous Dualies video, it has only ever had two sub-weapons. Those two sub-weapons being Sprinkler and Splash Wall. Meaning this will be the first time the 96 Gal actually gets a new sub-weapon. And since this weapon would be really good if it had a bomb, we're not going to give it a bomb. Rather, we're going to give it Angle Shooter. Now, the main reason is Angle Shooter can combo really well with a weapon, which will not be overpowered because it's actually completely impractical. Firing two shots will kill faster than firing Angle Shooter and then shooting someone, or the other way around. The reason that this is on here, while yes, for the combo, it's also for that burst paint that Angle Shooter gives. That burst paint is very useful, especially for a slow main weapon like 96 Gal. Now, 96 Gal doesn't exactly have problems with painting its feet, but it could always use that extra burst thing. That is exactly what I use Sprinkler on it for anyway, and this is a lot cheaper, so that would help a lot more. This special is where things get interesting though. 96 has always had one of two kits, high survivability or support, which I find really surprising because this weapon could absolutely benefit for a more aggressive special. Technically that is what Kraken is, but I see that more as a survivability special, especially the Splatoon 1 variant, which it first got Kraken from, and all of the reference kits came after. So, for this aggressive special, we're going to be giving it Inkjet. Primarily because most other aggressive specials wouldn't really work for this. And I didn't want to give it Booyah Bomb because, think of the Forge players. Not to mention, if you're fast enough, you could combo with a 50 damage outside hitbox of an Inkjet shot, but that feels kinda unlikely. This would basically just be Rapid Deco, but it's a shooter, and that's honestly pretty cool. Overall, I think this kit would be amazing, and I really wish that 96 got anything other than Wall or Sprinkler. It's about time that we actually got a unique kit like this. And I swear, if Nintendo for Splatoon 4 does another 96 Deco reference Splatoon 1 kit, I'm going to scream. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you liked the video, please let me know in the comments. If you think that you have better kits, or if you have any strong opinions on the kits that I've said in this video, please let me know as well, because I'm all ears. I absolutely love the feedback that I get on my other videos, and it's very helpful in going forward and making more videos like this. If you want to suggest what weapon class I look at next, go ahead. Obviously the next video will be taking on the second part of the shooters, you know, the short range ones. But I'm still all ears for what I could do after that. We still have plenty of classes to do. Obviously, the Stringer and Splatana video will definitely be coming out around about the start of next season, but that isn't going to stop me from making more videos on different weapon classes. Once again, like my previous kits video, sorry it took so long for me to make this as well, and I don't really have an excuse like I did last time. I'm just really bad when it comes to procrastination, so it's entirely my fault. Anyway, once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye. Challenge!
Hooray! Blows up inside.
Challenge number 2! 40!
Oh, you survived! Yeah. Good luck! Oh shit, we went there.